with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW AM, FM, and streamed online.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The city of Clinton is hearing from many developers about things they want to do in Clinton, but slowing those efforts is a lack of tax increment financing districts, also known as TIF districts. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Clinton City Administrator Tony Harris told the Heart Media Group the city of Clinton has hired a TIF consulting firm to help it establish and develop more TIF districts for its goals of growth.
Last night we had in Gwen Crawford, and she is with the Economic Development Group, LTD. They are located in Bloomington. That office specializes in TIF and economic development. And they have a couple of attorneys on staff, too, that's going to help through this process. But basically, as I mentioned last time I was in, we felt, the city felt that we need to hire a TIF consultant. We have two current TIF. Well, we have one TIF that just expired last year that we have to close out this year for taxes 2025, payable 2026. And that consultant's going to help us close that one out and then help us administer the current TIF, the downtown TIF, TIF 4. It's not just downtown, but I call it downtown TIF because that's basically what what it's used for. But then it also goes off the square down South Center on the east side of the road and then up north a little bit. The goal was to bring that consultant, that firm on board to help us with those two TIFs. But not only that, to take it a step farther, as I mentioned earlier this month, on creating some new TIFs.
According to Harris, the establishment of new TIFs is essential to future growth in Clinton. He indicates they hear from developers who want to come to Clinton. However, that development hinges on the creation of TIF districts.
When I say we receive calls, we receive calls from business owners or investors looking at doing something out in that area. But the first question they ask me, Mr. Harris, do you have any TIF districts in the area? Well, unfortunately, the one just expired. So so that's the incentive to get busy and get a new one there. And that's, like I said, that's the first question they ask because they need that TIF district in place to fund their new business. That's one reason why we're doing this, and that's the very first step. And when I mentioned earlier that I like to see a larger TIF in Clinton, I think we'll get there. This TIF, we will grow on this TIF once we get it in place this year. We can add to it. But we have to get it going relatively quickly because of the growth that we expect to see. And these businesses that have reached out to me, they're like, Mr. Harris, we need to get this going immediately. We're ready to do something. We need to get the TIF going and in place by the end of summer, and that's aggressive. We hope that we can do it. So that's why we have to keep it more of a smaller area, but again, encompass some of the residential area too, so we can help there.
While many may think creating a TIF district is as easy as pulling up a map of the city and taking a marker to create boundaries, it isn't that simple. There are a lot of legalities and procedures that have to be followed to create the districts.
That's a good question. It's not that simple. I wish it was. If it was that simple, we wouldn't have to hire a consultant because there are state statute TIF laws in place that we have to abide by. That you can't just say, we want a TIF district here. It has to meet a certain set of rules. There has to be in a blighted area. It has to be in an area where there's empty buildings or old buildings, the age of the buildings. And I don't have that entire list in front of me, but there's a set of guidelines, a set of rules that must be in place when we create that TIF district. And then it also has to, the state has to okay it as well. So it's not just as simple as taking it before city council and say, yes, they approve it and we're going to put it in place. So there is a good deal of work with the state that goes along with it as well.
Sure.
But that's a good question.
Harris is fielding questions much more frequently lately about the development in Clinton, and he attributes much of the excitement to the recent announcements of Meta, Quickwall, and Meyer Industries.
The city is being very aggressive, along with DCDC, Kurt Homan. We're working together, being very aggressive and trying to identify land. So basically, the city's not buying the land. What we're trying to do is find land that can be developed either through commercial or residential, and then get the investors together, and they can work out the deal with the landowner. So that's kind of how that works out. It's kind of a challenge just trying to find land, but me talking like this at the radio station here, that's what spurred some of the phone calls that I've received, like, hey, Tony, I've got some land that's available. And then I jot those down, and then we try to connect the investor with the owner of the land. That's exactly what happened with this new housing that I'm talking about. That's what happened with that. I was contacted by the landowner, put him in contact with the developer, and it's in the very early stages.
Harris reminds TIF districts in Clinton would not only serve the purpose of creating development opportunities for businesses, but also for housing. We'll have more in the next few weeks from Harris about a program the city is looking to start called Block by Block to address community homes that need a little improvement. The leader of the Illinois Retailers Merchants Association is cheering on a ruling from a courtroom after a federal judge upheld a first-of-its-kind law. The law aims to protect retailers from having to pay swipe fees when customers pay by debit or credit card. For Rob Carr, the chief executive officer of the IRMA, the ruling by a federal judge is a win for every consumer across the state.
So the lower court ruled that the bank's lawsuit, in the bank's claims, that they are not preempted. The state is not preempted under federal law from regulating this area, because these are not the bank's fees. This is the credit card companies, the processors. They are doing a service for the bank, but they are not the bank. They're paying the bank some kickbacks, if you will. I don't mean kickbacks in a negative term, but revenue sharing from the program. But these are not essential bank functions. So the court ruled that the Illinois law is legal and appropriate, and is going forward. And as I said, the banks are going to appeal. That's certainly their right. But this is an important development because, as you noted in your intro, it's the first of its kind. There are many bills introduced around the country in other states, so we'll see those gain momentum. Many states were waiting for this lawsuit, the first ruling. And then, of course, there's Senator Durbin and Senator Marshall, Republican out of Kansas, their bill on credit card competition in Washington. So it could have a real effect going forward.
However, the ruling may not last long, as the Illinois Bankers Association and the Illinois Credit Union League could file an appeal soon. According to Carr, if the ruling is appealed, the IRMA will take the case to the state's Supreme Court. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
The WHOW Morning Show is now video streamed live on the WHOW WEZC DeWittDailyNews.com Facebook page and on the new WHOW TV YouTube channel. Watch Morning Show host Seth Lawrence interview guests live, as well as watch archived video podcasts of any interview you missed. Whether on Facebook or YouTube, we're providing two more ways that Central Illinois' local news station, WHOW, delivers compelling content for you.
Here are the contest rules for our stations. We allow one person per household to win any prize from the radio stations in a 30-day period. Unless otherwise stated, all prizes are to be picked up within 2 weeks at the studios inside the Big Red Barn at 2980 U.S. Highway 51, 4 miles south of Clinton. Our office hours are 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. weekdays. Any cash prize is mailed within 30 days of winning, only if cash winners call our business line within 2 weeks of their name being drawn to provide their mailing address. Employees and their families of regional radio are not eligible to participate or win any contest.
In today's digital world, one medium stands out for reaching America's farmers and ranchers: Ag Radio. Farm broadcasters connect agricultural advertisers with the most trusted voices in rural America. While farmers may scroll past online ads or skip television commercials, they actively listen to farm broadcasters for weather updates, market reports, and agricultural news that impacts their livelihood. Ag Radio reaches farmers where they work, in combines, tractors, barns, and trucks across rural America. These aren't just radio personalities, they're trusted advisors who've built relationships with agricultural communities for generations. Data from the National Association of Farm Broadcasting shows that 80% of farmers rely on Ag Radio as a primary information source during planting and harvest seasons, exactly when your agricultural product or service needs to be top of mind. Ready to put the power of farm broadcasting to work for your brand? Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and connect with the voices that farmers trust most.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Andrei Stojakovic scored 22 points to lead 7 players in double figures, and the number 10 Illinois Fighting Illini routed the Southern California Trojans 101-65 on Wednesday night for its 14th win in 16 games. Blue and orange-clad fans were out in force for the Fighting Illini's first game against the Trojans in Los Angeles since 1975. The Illini improved to 22-5 and 13-3 in the Big Ten. They didn't disappoint, leading all the way to maintain a hold on second place in the conference standings behind number 1 Michigan. The Illini were up by 22 at halftime and poured it on to start the second half. They outscored the Trojans 21-10, hitting 5 3-pointers and extending the lead to 75-42. Stojakovic capped the spurt with a steal and one-handed slam that drew cheers. Stojakovic was 6 of 7 from the floor and made all 9 of his free throws. David Mirkovic added 14 points. The Illini hit 24 of 26 free throws while sending the USC Trojans to its biggest loss of the season. Illinois made 13 three-pointers and at one point in the second half was shooting equally as well from long range as from the floor overall, 46%. Ezra Ausar scored 15 points and Jacob Kofi added 14 for USC, who falls to 18-8 and 7-8 in the Big Ten. They lost their second straight and fell to 0-4 against ranked teams. The Trojans were without second leading scorer Chad Baker-Mazara, who averages 18.3 points per game because of a strained knee. They committed 14 turnovers that led to 22 points for the Illini. Illinois visits UCLA on Saturday. USC remains in the Pacific time zone for its final 5 Big Ten games, starting Saturday when they play host to Oregon. JT Pettigrew's 22 points helped Valparaiso defeat Bradley 79-72 on Wednesday night. Pettigrew also added 5 rebounds for the Beacons, who improved to 15-13 and 9-8 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Rakeem Chaney scored 13 points while shooting 4 for 8 and 4 for 4 from the free throw line and added 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Brody Whitaker finished with 12 points. Alex Huberguest led the Braves with 22 points. They fall to 18-10 and 11-6 in the MVC. Bradley also got 14 points from Jaquan Johnson. A.J. Smith finished with 10 points and 11 rebounds. It was tied 35-all at the break. Pettigrew's jump shot with 17 minutes and 59 seconds left in the second half gave Valparaiso the lead for good at 40-38. Tyreek Coleman's 22 points off of the bench helped Illinois State to a 78-61 victory against Murray State on Wednesday night. Coleman added 5 rebounds and 4 steals for the Redbirds, who improved to 18-10 and 10-7 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Ty Pence shot 6 for 8, including 3 for 4 from beyond the arc to add 15 points. Landon Wolf went 5 of 6 from the field to finish with 12 points while adding 6 rebounds. Roman Dahmen led the Racers in scoring, finishing with 18 points. They fall to 19-10 and 11-7 in the MVC. Murray State also got 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks from Frederick King. KJ Tenner finished with 6 points and 4 assists. Illinois State took the lead with 8 minutes and 59 seconds remaining in the first half and did not trail again. Coleman led the Redbirds with 15 points in the first half to help put them up 36-28 at the break. Illinois State outscored Murray State in the second half by 9 points, with Pence scoring a team-high 8 points in the first half. The Chicago Bears have promoted pass game coordinator Press Taylor to offensive coordinator to replace the departed Declan Doyle, one of 4 coaching moves announced by the team on Wednesday. Taylor was Jacksonville's offensive coordinator from 2022 to 2024. His promotion comes after Doyle left to call plays in Baltimore under a new Ravens coach, Jesse Minter. Coach Ben Johnson will continue to call plays after the Bears made the playoffs in his first season. Chicago's offense ranked 6th overall, with quarterback Caleb Williams making big strides in his second year. The number 1 pick in the 2024 draft, he threw for a franchise record 3,942 yards with 27 touchdowns and just 7 interceptions. The Bears were 3rd in rushing, with DeAndre Swift and rookie Kyle Monangai leading the way. Chicago also committed a league-low 11 turnovers. The Bears also hired Eric Studsville as running backs coach, Will Lawing as offensive analyst, and Isaiah Ford as offensive quality control coach. A 29-year NFL coaching veteran, Studsville was a Bears assistant in the late 1990s and spent the past 8 seasons in Miami, working alongside Johnson for part of that time. Studsville takes over for Eric Bieniemy, who left to become Kansas City's offensive coordinator. Chicago went 11-6 and won its first NFC North title since 2018 after finishing last in the previous season. The Bears advanced in the playoffs for the first time in 15 years, rallying to beat Green Bay in a wild card thriller before losing to the LA Rams in overtime in the divisional round. Quinn Hughes sent the United States men's hockey team through to the semifinals of the 2026 Winter Olympics with a dramatic game-winning goal in overtime of Wednesday's quarterfinal showdown with Sweden. The Americans held a 1-0 lead for much of the contest, but the game went to overtime after a goal by Sweden tied the game with just 1:31 left in regulation. The game, tied at 1-1, went into a 10-minute 3-on-3 extra session where Hughes and the Americans regrouped, controlled overtime, and pulled out the win. Just before the game-winning play, Hughes waved off the American bench, which was calling for him to make a line change. It proved to be a good decision by Hughes, who used his skating and stick handling to create just enough space for a powerful wrist shot that beat Swedish goalie Jacob Markstrom. Dylan Larkin, who played an exceptional game for the U.S., scored the other goal for the Americans as he turned in his best performance of these Olympics. Larkin started and finished his goal by winning an offensive zone faceoff and getting to the front of the net for a deflection on a point shot. Larkin was also key in disrupting Sweden's only power play of the game, which came in the third period. American goaltender Connor Hellebuck was nearly perfect as he turned away 28 of 29 Swedish shots that came his way. His best save of the day was a robbery of Swedish winger Lucas Raymond in the second period. Raymond was all alone on the back door when Hellebuck came sliding across to make a glove save and keep the game scoreless. It took a dramatic finish, but Team USA is on to the semifinals where it will face Slovakia on Friday. Puck drop for that matchup is set for 2:10 p.m. Central Time. In scores from NCAA men's basketball last night, number 25 Bama beat number 20 Arkansas in double overtime, 117-115. Creighton upset 5th-ranked UConn 91-84. 4th-ranked Arizona took down 23 BYU 75-68, while number 8 Kansas beat Oklahoma State 81-69. Number 17 St. John beat Marquette 76-70, and number 14 Virginia took down Georgia Tech 94-68. Mizzou upset number 19 Vanderbilt 81-80, and number 11 Gonzaga took down San Francisco 80-59. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL Sports Wire on your preferred social media platforms. You can get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hey, it's Shane from Highway 51 Exchange, your mower and equipment service pros just south of Clinton. Click our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com or give us a call to schedule your free pickup and delivery today. Highway 51 Exchange.
Longview Community Bank is now open in Clinton, investing in rural Illinois. I'm Vice President Nate Sams. Stop by for a visit or to find out how we provide real local banking. Click our banner ad at the top of the local news page on DeWittDailyNews.com.
Introducing this year's Instinct Next Gen and N-Serve nitrogen stabilizers, featuring the same leading active as always, and now announcing nothing new, because our performance still leads every competitor.
Our nitrogen stabilizers aren't new. They're proven with thousands of field trials and decades of experience leading the competition. No gimmicks, no empty promises. Now that deserves some hype.
Go to Corteva.us/hype to learn more.
Hear Clinton Maroon live play-by-play this season on WHOW, the Big 1520 Daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com, on the WHOW mobile app, and Amazon Alexa. Plus, hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10. All brought to you by Warner Hospital and Health Services, Baum Chevrolet Buick, and Keith Wade, your country financial agent, all in Clinton.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays, tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW, AM, FM, and streamed online.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. As the American military presence near Iran continues to grow, U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth will head to Nashville today. He'll address the 2026 National Religious Broadcasters Conference. President Trump's Board of Peace will convene in Washington today for its very first meeting. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, he's Britain's former Prince Andrew, has been arrested in the UK on suspicion of misconduct in public office. This has to do with his contacts with Jeffrey Epstein. 8 backcountry skiers have been found dead, one still missing after that avalanche earlier this week near Lake Tahoe, Northern California. And the Seattle Seahawks going up for sale in accordance with the wishes of the late team owner, Paul Allen. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down 133, NASDAQ futures off 115 points. More details, srnnews.com.
From Lionsgate and Kingdom Story Company.
I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me, one of the most beloved songs of all time.
I mean, what did you think was going to happen? You're just going to ride off into the sunset, no more struggles or pain?
Comes the highly anticipated I Can Only Imagine 2.
God is in fire, and it is beautiful.
Imagine what God can do again. I Can Only Imagine 2 in theaters this Friday. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
Fearless conversations and sharp analysis of the stories that matter. It's the Aaron Mullins Show, now available on the Salem Podcast Network.
In the wake of what's just occurred in Venezuela, when we look at what might be happening in Iran, when we look at some other countries who might have all of a sudden not feel as secure as they once did, and trying to find the downside here. I get the cheerleading because it's bloody awesome.
Subscribe today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local news update. The America 250th Celebration Committee in Clinton is finalizing plans for a 3-day celebration of the community, the country, and the 4th of July holiday. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Kenny Atchison with the Clinton America 250th Celebration Committee told the Heart Media Group they have 3 days full of activities for residents of all ages.
It'll be on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It falls on a Saturday, so we've got lucky. It'll be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll shut the square down and have events going on all weekend. We have a lot of stuff planned so far. We have a trackless train, Mike's Trackless Trains, Andrew's Family Magic Magician, 24-foot rock climbing wall from Upper Limits, balloon artist, face painters, Sally Marvel out of Chicago. She's a sword swallower and fire breather. She does other stuff, walks on glass. We have wax hand station, 2 bounce houses, 2 bounce house obstacle courses, bags, cornhole tournament going on that weekend, sand art station, dunk tank, free popcorn and snow cones, and free water from 11 to 3 on Saturday. Exotic petting zoo, a 5K race, goldfish stand, donut eating contest, a 100-foot slide, and a 200-foot zip line, and bands throughout the weekend. There's always room for more. Always looking for more ideas.
And of course, parade and fireworks.
The 3-day celebration will include a 4th of July parade. Bobby Perryman indicates they are planning a reverse route for the parade. The annual homecoming